2,625 pounds, Rockwood A213 high wall A-frame here at Haylett RV of Coldwater, Michigan. This has become our most popular of these Rockwood A-frames, I think due to its just intelligent combination of features. One of the signature calling cards of this model is that it has a twin to king convertible bed. You can obviously see that front dormer, outside cooking station, the big front storage trunk. It's just got a little bit of everything, including a little cassette style half bath, all wrapped up into one dynamite little package. The first thing that really struck me as these rolled in was the completely facelifted and revised interior decor that we're seeing on these Rockwood pop-ups. Whether it's their little tent campers or these A-frames, they've gotten far more modern and updated than just plain generic neutral brown wood everywhere. You know, there's still maybe an overarching brown tone, but it's got more of like a champagne or a taupe or just something. It just looks and feels classier. That being said, very little on the RV has actually changed. It just looks a lot sharper than it had in years past, in my opinion. That's a subjective thing. You form your own opinions, obviously. Now, one of the cool things about any pop-up camper, including these Hardside models, is the amount of visibility you get. You've got good side windows here on the campsite, including a real window in the entry door for lots of airflow. And as you circle around, you're going to see windows all over the place. But I specifically want to focus on that forward window right there. Unlike a traditional A-frame that just has a couple skylights, that is an actual slide open ventilating window. Instead of pleated shades, you see you have a pair of little slide across curtains. They're easy to use, they're simple, and they're very, very effective. Now, one of the main things that has also helped this model become the most successful of the A-frames here at Haylett RV is this little hideaway half bath. And it's pretty neat because it's sort of a there if you need it, gone if you don't kind of feature. It's very handy for those late night little emergency, oh no's, I need to use the potty and I don't want to walk through the rain up to the, bathhouse at the campground, or maybe you just don't like the bathhouse they have at the campground, or maybe you're boondocking and there is no campground, so there is no bathhouse, etc. You get the idea. But you don't really even need to use it. You don't need to worry about it. I've had a lot of people come to Haylett RV to purchase one of these Rockwood A213s with absolutely no interest in this feature. Instead, they just use it as extra, like, countertop space effectively. Which is kind of what we're looking at right here. Now, what's also neat is the door side bench, just like the Rockwood A212 high wall, which is a similar layout. It just doesn't have, like, the twin bed arrangement. Doesn't have a half bath. They're slightly different in different regards. But you have storage under the door side bench over here, and you see that there's still an outside access door to that. Now, this door isn't like necessarily strutted, but what's neat is the decking that we're sitting on here. You can see the material premium nature of the Rockwood shining through, even here on their A-frames, with a 5/8 plywood deck base on this, which is pretty much overkill, but that's what Rockwood does. Now, there's no struts to hold that up, but you see how I have that little jack leg crank sitting right there? It is a $0 very effective solution to turning that from a something where you have to juggle it open with your head into something that's very easy to access. Naturally, the front dinette does convert down into a bonus sleeping area, and that's another one of the cool aspects of this, is that this RV can have 3 separate sleeping zones, since you have twin beds that we haven't looked at yet, which is where I'm standing currently, and then you have like a full 80-inch long bed up front. Well, you could easily sleep 3 separate adults in here without ever bunking up in space. Now, if you convert the twins to a king bed and fold this dinette down, you could, in theory, sleep up to 4 people in here, although, you know, you're going to be a little bit more tight quarters there. But generally speaking, it's a couple's camper, but it does have some guest weekend expansion sort of functionality to it, I guess you could say. What's also neat is the table's totally free-floating. So it's like a triple-purpose table. You can use it to sleep on, you can use it to eat on inside, or you can take it outside for picnic time. And what that does is it leaves this thing nice and wide open, so it's kind of like a little social seating lounge where you can just sort of sit down, kick down, chill out in the air conditioner, chit-chat a bit, go back outside after you cooled off. You know, it gives you different flexibility and options. And again, the different flexibility and options is, I think, why the A213's done so well for us, because it can appeal to so many more people. It's not as specialized. But what's interesting is a lot of times when you have a product that's non-specialized, it's not as effective at any one thing, whereas I think this is equally, if not more effective, at most things that it can possibly do compared to most A-frames. This is an easy opportunity to point out the fact that this is carpetless, easy cleaning, and pet friendly. We've got no floor heat registers or anything like that. Over here, well, actually, let me back up. There are power outlets under this bench over here, so it's very like phone charger friendly and whatnot. But if we wrap around the side over here, you'll see that there's not only just power outlets, but this is where your propane furnace, your converter box, a speaker even is located. Various things under this one, and that's why there's no storage under this bench, because there are mechanical, effectively, items and systems under here. So, as I mentioned, this does have a propane furnace. That's what's on the left. This RV actually essentially has two methods of heating and cooling, and we'll touch on those more as we go through each of these. This bench over here is bigger. It's more of a two-adult bench, but you see you've also got a wing-up countertop right here. And between that and the recessing nature of both the stove top and the sink, this little thing actually has a decent amount of prep space. And that's what's kind of cool, is I think this has more countertop space than any of the other Rockwood A-frames. Because you've got the primary kitchen space there, you got a handy little entertainment stand here, and then remember, you've always got the little half bath area over here that you could use as additional countertop and or, you know, storage space. Because a lot of people, like I said, they purchased this model with no intention of ever using that half bath. It's a pretty common occurrence actually in pop-ups that do have a cassette style toilet. And below those tempered glass covers that are highly impact resistant, by the way, a lot of people hear glass top and they get really spooked. Guys, this thing's a rolling earthquake. They can't just put like cheap normal window panes or something in here. This is a impact resistant tempered glass cover on both of these objects. It can be a very functional counter space if need be. But you see down here, it's stainless. You know, so it's very easy to clean, long-lasting, rugged. The sink is actually deep enough you can really get hands into there, small bowls and dishes. So it's very real-world friendly. It's not a theoretical useful sink. It's a real-world, actual camper useful sink. We've got a little bit larger refrigerator here as compared to something like the standard Rockwood A-frame, like an A213HW, which is cool in its own rights, naturally. But you notice, being a little bit bigger, they had more room for drawer space, and that's another one of the things here that the A213 does well. I think it comes out with more storage capacity than most of these. As we, before we get there though, I do want to point out, kind of like a full-on travel trailer, you've got a full microwave here. You know, it's got more travel trailer-like features than most folding campers, or pop-ups, if you will, depending on where you live, normally have. Over here we also have a Bluetooth entertainment system that does have an HDMI input. So if you want to put like a TV or a satellite or something up here, or a plug in like a Chromecast or Roku stick, you can do all of that. And you see that coax outlet. This is part cable friendly. Now, over here you can see the, you know, you've got just drawers galore. They gave you, what was it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 big drawers in this thing. And, you know, I've never had somebody trade in a camper because it had, you know, too many drawers. Now what's kind of neat here is this central stand. There are power outlets nearby, so if you do want to turn that into something like a place to charge your phones or set a CPAP machine or whatever, you do have a spot to do that. The power outlets are actually located right here next to the combination heating cooling unit. The power outlet's up in that little corner, by the way. But you see this thing right here that says Dometic. That is an electric heating and cooling unit. And if you don't know what it is, the best way I can describe this, guys, is you already know what an air conditioner is that you stick in the window of your house, right? Well, you're used to it spitting cold air into the camper, but what you don't realize is it's spitting hot air outside. It splits the elements of the air, hot, cold, then it directs them. This does the same thing, but it's bi-directional. So if you wanted to pump heat into the camper, it can. If you wanted to pump cold air into the camper, it can also do that. But it requires park power or a generator. So if you're boondocking and you don't have access to park power or a generator, that's where this is going to come into play. And this is 12 volt powered. Big fan in a little camper will push a ton of airflow through this thing, especially when you open those side breeze windows. But what's also cool is if you look at its proximity, it's located directly above what would be your kitchen heat sources. So if you are cooking up a storm in this camper, it'll be very, very good for exhausting the heat out of the RV. And as if this thing wasn't cool enough, you can convert those twin beds into single giant, like Mega King, effectively. I specifically left the bedspread not pulled over those central conversion cushions so that you could get a better idea of what we're looking at here. But, you know, if what you're looking for is a just giant two-person sleeper or something like that, or maybe what you do is, it's like, I've talked to some people who bought this model where it's like, hey, you know, I want to take my grandkids camping. I'll sleep alone on the front dinette, and then I'll throw the 3 or 4 grandkids back here because they're little. I mean, there's a ton of different ways you could use this. There's no one way you have to use it. A couple quick notes here for you. I want to point out the fact that you're actually on like nice thick mattresses. Now, there is decking built into the bottom mattresses themselves that actually rest on little support runners here. So you don't lose this space. If you want to leave it as a king bed, you can always throw duffel bags and stuff down there. You never lose anything. It just kind of changes and evolves and becomes a little different. One of the common questions is, okay, so where do I store those things? And they store very easily under that bed. The decking actually just lifts up right there. Now, another way to look at this is you can always leave it a king, you can convert it into a king, or you could just leave it as twin beds, in which case you can take those little conversion cushions and you can just basically leave them at home and, I guess, give them to the next person whenever you're done with the camper. Or you can use them sometimes and not others. Again, the point here is that there's no one way you have to use it. You'll figure out the way that works for you. The thing is, the camper can just about do everything you can throw at it. That's what's so cool. Along with that updated interior decor, I am all about the exterior updates. And it's kind of funny that what's old is new trend continues to push through. Just a classic white skin. It just, I don't know, there's something crisp and clean and good looking on it, I think. Now, obviously up front we've got the dormer. If you're not familiar with what that is, dormer is what the flip up portion is called right here. And that is one of the differences here on the A213 as compared to its similar sister, the A212. It does make this one a little heavier. It does make this one a little more expensive. But something I didn't really discuss inside, and I really should have in retrospect, is for a tall person like me who's 6'3", I can stand up inside of that thing and never have to duck. And that's one of those things that a lot of people wonder about on A-frames. They don't realize how spacious they are inside. You know, like, have you ever gotten into a Volkswagen Beetle? And you're like, look at this little car. And then you get in and you're like, holy crap, there's a lot of room in here. That's exactly what these A-frames are like. But you have to experience it in person. Even this video doesn't translate that quality very well. Up front here, we've got a 2-tier storage system in the front storage trunk. And they pretty much have to, because these high wall A-frames are so darn tall that if they didn't separate the inside to outside compartment like this, even a tall person like me, I'd have to get on a step stool and almost nosedive into the thing to get to the bottom cargo area. So you have a top storage trunk basically, and then you can padlock that if you want. And then you have this slide out storage trough type thing right here. And that runs the full width of the camper, which, speaking of which, this is a 7-foot wide camper. So it doesn't really stick out past your vehicle, and especially when it's folded down, it's not taller than your vehicle. So this is about as easy towing as any RV really possibly can get. Another travel trailer type feature you find here on this, technically a pop-up camper, and that's why it's like a mutant hybrid concept. But you see that we've got dual propane tanks up front. That's not a normal pop-up feature. It has the same automatic changeover regulator. Looks like we're here in our prep bay right now. You can see how it's inside one of the shop. We quality control everything, and we pre-screen every RV before it goes out for sale here at Haylett RV. That includes like a full appliance burn, and we don't charge you extra for that. We don't do hidden fees at Haylett RV. Getting it here, getting it quality checked, propane battery fills, stuff like that, that doesn't cost you extra with Haylett RV. That's all part of the price tag. The tongue jack here is an optional piece of equipment on these. On our high wall A-frames, we do tend to put that on all of them. Just because, hey, it's a little bit bigger. We figure it's a little bit, higher level equipment package. Why not save your elbow the trouble here? This is prepped and ready for a side mount solar panel. And as we come down the side here, a couple things I want to point out. Like the fact that we have this full outside utility shower. So we've got the little, half bath inside. You've got a little mini shower out here. If you are way off the grid where you're not worried about the neighbors, it is very possible to take a little cowboy shower out here. If you're in the campgrounds and the parks, maybe do something to privatize yourself a little bit. I'm just saying. Anyway, now over here, we do have, like I said, park cable TV hookup. And this long arm right here, this is actually the power lift system. Because these high wall A-frames are a little bit taller, because they weigh a little bit more, because the walls are a little bit longer since the camper is a little bit bigger, it would be very difficult and unwieldy to try to put that up in a manual fashion. So that little motor right there, 12-volt powered, makes this very easy to put the roof sections up and down. And then there's just no sweat to you know, putting the sidewalls up, because everything in this, you know, your walls and everything are laminated. They're aluminum skeleton. The box part of the RV is essentially built effectively like any other Rockwood RV. That's what's kind of cool, is even here in their folding campers, they're very consistent on how they build things. Now you've got all LED tail and marker lights. Those things flash faster, brighter. They last longer. They're safer. You also have the Wi-Fi Ranger here. So if you are looking to get easier, more reliable access to mobile data sources, that's what this will do for you here. It does multiple different things. You can use it in different ways. The simplest, most grossly overstated way I can describe it is that the camper has a built-in router. It's not exactly true, but it's close enough that I think most people will get the idea. And my best recommendation, I thought about putting a video together on the Wi-Fi Ranger things, guys, but frankly, the manufacturer of the Wi-Fi Ranger system did such a good job on it that I think you can catch one of their clips on it and learn everything you need to know. So, remember how I said you've got that free floating table? What's kind of cool, you want to pop it outside for picnic time, you can. Now remember I said you could store those bed cushions under the bedside over here. Well, you can also just use that for a large storage compartment, as you can currently see. All of these will include, slide that out of the way, ooh, that made like a nails on a chalkboard sound, didn't it? Includes a side mount grilling station right here. So there's a couple different ways you can use this. The most traditional way most people are going to use it is exactly as we're showing, with the grill mounted on the side of the trailer, and then you've got this handy little resin top sort of work utility table here you can use if you are so inclined. But something a lot of people don't realize is there is a different way you can use these things. You don't have to have them mounted on the side of the trailer, because that bracket that holds it on the side of the camper actually easily converts to being something of like a little free floating grilling stand. Now it sets a little low to the ground, but that's actually by intention, because you don't always have to use it on the ground. You could simply use that on top of a table to make it more chest level, or something maybe I've done a time or two, I'm not saying, I'm just saying, sit next to that thing in your favorite lawn chair with your favorite drink in your hand, reach over every now and then, flip the meat, move some stuff around, flip the lid back down. Guys, that is about as cool and easy grilling as it possibly gets right there. Now moving on, you can see how the main entry steps, first of all, there's two of them on the high wall A-frames. They have a little bit bigger like tire package and whatnot. So they come with dual steps for easy entry. They probably don't need to, but Rockwood's never a brand that only does exactly what's needed. They always do a little bit more. And that's part of the reason they've upgraded these compared to last season with those nice aluminum plank steps. They are stronger, they won't corrode, they're lighter weight, and they're not slippery when your feet are wet. The entry handle here, you see you got a bigger handle, and you've also got outside outlets there if you do want to plug in some stuff outdoors, so any sort of like phone charger-y type thing, any household stuff. This is your cassette right here for the toilet system that actually just literally pulls right out. It's effectively a removable black tank if you're not familiar with what a cassette style toilet is, and that is that storage that we saw from inside the RV under the door side dining bench. And there you go, guys. I think we hammered this one in some pretty good detail today. So give us a call here at Haylett RV. If we're willing to go to this kind of effort and extent before we've met you, imagine what we'll do once you've actually picked up the phone and given us a chance to speak with you. So remember, we don't do hidden dealer fees, but we do everything else: hitching, pieces, parts, trades, finance, truck and trailer package deals, RV delivery, and everything in between. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.